The U.S. is sending additional troops to the Middle East. Iran continues to deny any involvement in the attacks on Saudi Arabian oil facilities. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is calling for a peaceful resolution, but Iran's foreign minister had another warning for the United States.
No, I'm not confident that we can avoid a war. I'm confident that we will not start one. But I'm confident that whoever starts one will not be the one who finishes it.
I want to bring in Behnam Ben Taleblu, Senior Fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Great to see you today.
Thanks, Harris.
Iran issues these threats, and is there any reason at this point to say we're never going to sit down with the United States? And that's not. Is there any reason to take their rhetoric more seriously than before?
Well, unfortunately, the Iranians are translating some of their rhetoric into policy. They said they would be stepping up the pressure in the Persian Gulf across the region. They are. They're continuing to do things that threaten the free flow of oil. And they're doing things that actually, unfortunately, set the predicate for conflict. Now, I don't think a conflict is desired formally by Tehran's leaders nor by those in Washington here, but Iran is setting the conditions where the only way, increasingly, to check Iran is to have some kind of tough pressure that is not just economic, but also military. So there are all these opportunities where America is actually holding back, and President Trump himself has been saying, has shown restraint. So that actually disproves what the Iranians are saying, that the U.S. actually would be the one to start such a conflict. The U.S. has shown significant restraint.
I want to bring in a general's voice into the conversation. General Jack Keane says the Trump administration should send Iran a message using military force, and I'll get your reaction.
Well, General Jack Keane is always...
If we're going to stop Iran, there must be a robust enough military response that attacks them in terms of their military capability. This is Revolutionary Guard. They got a lot of them in Syria, a lot of them in their own country. We can be selective about it, and also economic targets in terms of oil production, distribution, and storage.
Mr. Taleblu, your reaction.
Well, General Jack Keane is always quite prescient, and I think he's right on the money over there. The Islamic Republic is betting that America will back down. In response to the downing of the U.S. drone, for instance, Washington could have taken out an Iranian drone in response. Also, in Syria and in Iraq, the U.S. has a radius that it doesn't want Iranian or Iran-backed proxies or militias to enter. It could broaden the scope of that radius and make it harder for Iran to operate in those countries. But the best thing would be to contest Iran and Iran-backed forces offshore and away from Iranian territory. So that would send a signal that the U.S. is willing to use force, but against the assets and interests of the Islamic Republic abroad.
Real quickly, because we've got to go, both of us, but I'm wondering from the Democratic side of the aisle, not to pull you too far into politics here, we're hearing the words, bumble into war, stumble into war. Is there a worry of a mission creep here where we actually could widen a military step, a footprint in that part of the world again if we have any sort of reaction?
Well, one way that the U.S. could bumble into a war is actually by withdrawing and actually showing weakness in the face of Iran's threats. If the U.S. moves from deep engagement, because it is engaged in the Middle East currently, to offshore, that would incentivize Iran to keep doing things that would actually cause a war. So, in fact, it's the opposite of what many in Washington may be saying, as you cited.
Mr. Taleblu, as Senior Fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, thank you for being on the program for the first time.
Thank you for having me.